Welcome to Family Cyber Tips Daily, your weekly guide to raising kids who are digitally safe and spiritually anchored. Today's topic, influencer culture, and how it's silently shaping the hearts and minds of our children. They're stylish, they're funny, they're relatable, but behind the scenes, influencers have one goal: to influence. And that's not always bad, but when you're 10 years old, it starts getting a bit tricky, okay? Your 10-year-old could start copying a millionaire 23-year-old from TikTok. It's time to talk, okay? Now we're going to look at why influencer culture hits kids so hard. And it's important to establish that from the get-go. Kids are wired for identity. They're wired for imitation. Influencers make money off attention. The more extreme, the better. And the result, your child feels like they're not enough unless they look a certain way, unless they dress or act a certain way. And it's important to make sure that as a parent and caregiver, that you are on the alert, okay? Because there's so many things hidden behind the scenes that you may not be seeing. And so let's discuss that. The dangers you may not see. Our kids are very susceptible. They're very, and I don't want to put our kids in a box and make them all look very bad, but kids are kids. They're vulnerable. And there are certain dangers around influencers, what they put out, that you as the parent or caregiver may not see. And at times, depending on the age of your young one, they don't even want you to see it. Okay? Dangers that you may not see are things like unrealistic lifestyles that fuel envy and insecurity. I suspect that there'll be a few of you who will probably highlight, but Lawrence, you create content. You are a content creator. Does that make you an influencer? And the truth, it is, which is why we must be responsible. I am responsible for the content I put out. I don't take this lightly, and I hope you know that. So I am consciously and intentionally making sure that my content is relatable, and I want it to be effective. So the research is, foundational. It's hard. And besides, I'm teaching kids safety. So I'll be watching, making sure that I'll be watching for those. Hence the reason why, having dug deep to, do what I've done, I'm flagging the dangers that too much of this content without supervision can be dangerous. And that's why, as I'm speaking to you now, I'm relaying to you the dangers that you may not see, based on how aggressive or how into TikTok and all the other fashionable social media platforms are, and the impact. And that's what we're doing, okay? So there are unrealistic lifestyles that get portrayed on most of these influencers' channels that fuel envy and insecurity. And these are things your young ones, if they were old enough, or if they're old enough, will relate with what I'm saying. Hidden ads that push unnecessary products are another hidden danger that just, very subtle. Just see an ad pop up. They're offering your young one unnecessary products. And of course, your young one may see this product or products on his or her peers, and they start coveting it. Fake perfection that crushes confidence. We hear it, we see it. You know, even the government are getting involved. You see harmful trends, we've discussed that, or challenges masked as fun that end up being disastrous. And these are all the things that lay beneath, you know, all the color that parents and caregivers have to stay alert, you know, really have to stay alert. And so what's the solution? How can we guide our kids through this? And really, I'll touch on it, but mostly, as you know, I would do, I make sure that I drum it in. You know, you've got to talk about it. You really have to talk about it. There's no dodging this one. If there was any video I've shared on the platform where I'm pressuring you to talk or enhance the communication between you and the children or child, this is it. Talk about it. It will not go away. If your child is online, if your child is old enough to consume social media, this has to be spoken about. This has to be put down as a tete-a-tete. Is it what basically speak to the child? Okay, there's no avoiding this one. Ask questions. What do you like, you know, about that influencer? Get into their space. I pray to God they let you in. Use their content to spark real conversations. You know, we see it all. You know, there's no end of, you know, reels that portray all the things that I've shared this evening. You know, it's almost like a binge, just one after the other. To have a conversation, use the contents that are being served to spark real conversations with your young one. The one thing I can promise you, as you Gen Zs tend to say, is it's not going to go away. You can't avoid it. And so a parent, if you're a caregiver, talk about it and ask questions, open questions, so that you get feedback, okay? Whilst you're at it, for the appropriately aged young ones under your supervision, teach them media literacy. Show them how followers, filters, and fame don't equal truth and worth. Okay, we showed you some clips earlier on, you know who's influencing your child. We got to another one that says the comparison trap is real. These are all things that are happening, okay? And the only way you get to know is if you get into their space. Of course, you're not going to, you know, create a fake account and become a child so that you can mingle and get a feel. No, you get it straight, live and direct from your young ones. You can't run away from this one, okay? So show them how followers, filters, and fame don't equal truth or worth. Because they generally will believe that, you know, this person, the skin that is glowing, the teeth that is white, you know, everything just looks spot on. And with AI, it will look so real, you know? And then you find that your kid is under so much pressure to level up. It doesn't equal truth or worth. Tell them, explain to them, you know, how valued they are and what they're worth. Not just to you, to God, that they're special. Tell them the truth. Those things I've just mentioned are the truth. Our children are the best. Okay? So it's important to make sure that you teach them media literacy. Another thing, celebrate real life role models. You know, real life. Point them to godly, wise, humble examples, including yours truly. You know, By yours truly, I mean you, your family, your mom. See your mom. Your mom is very hardworking. Your mom is very disciplined. Don't you want to be like mom? See your dad. He's taking care of the family. He's very productive. See the friends he keeps. So you have those discussions with them and make sure you celebrate real life role models and not the ones I call bobo. Okay? Teach them to choose truth over trends. Always. Another one that I'll throw your way before we close this out is create screen-free zones. This will always work. Okay? Always work. So when we throw it in, it's not because it's not important. It's because it's important. Let your home be a place where comparison takes a break. Okay? It's off limits in this zone. Go away. Go away. You could do that and they'll run away very quickly. But you really do have to get involved, okay? Really do. Influencers may grab their attention, okay? By that I mean our kids could get really drawn in to what these influencers have to offer, okay? But you, the parents, you're responsible for shaping the foundation of your children. Let's raise kids who know their value, who know their worth, not just their view count or the number of followers. Make them understand whose they are. Okay? This is Family Cyber Tips Daily, where every Tuesday we speak about tech and parenting. Being your host tonight. Till tomorrow at 6 p.m. God bless and goodbye.